It was captured by Hamas and Islamic Jihad, organizations very similar to Al-Qaeda or ISIS in Iraq. And now Gaza should be demilitarized again. Otherwise, there will be no real solution to the situation.
What about a one-week temporary humanitarian ceasefire? That seems to be on the table, phase one, and then all of these other issues could be discussed subsequent.
Look, I hope that we can find a diplomatic solution that will enable the demilitarization of Gaza once more for the benefits both of Israelis and for the Gazans. If Gaza would remain demilitarized, there would be no rockets launching on Israelis and no suffering in Gaza. This should be the process and the prospect of any real solution in Gaza. We have to insist on the demilitarization of Gaza. We will not accept any proposal that will appease terrorism. And please don't forget, it's true that ISIS are fighting in Iraq and al-Nusra in Syria and Al-Qaeda all over the world. And Islamic Jihad and Hamas are fighting mainly against Israel. But those are very similar organizations. We are speaking on Islamic zealots, terrorists, and nobody should appease such kind of terrorists and such kind of assaults on civilians.
So where exactly? Because it sounds to me like Secretary Kerry wants to announce that there's at least a temporary ceasefire for a week or so. Is that going to happen?
I don't know, but I think, and I'm confident Secretary Kerry is well aware, you have to be very careful not to empower Hamas vis-a-vis the Palestinian Authority. Not just the Palestinian Authority, but also Egypt and the whole Arab League are actually supporting the Egyptian proposal and not the Qatarian approach, because the Qatarian approach is about empowering the terrorists, empowering the zealots.
Qatar has been the intermediary between the U.S. The U.S. doesn't talk to Hamas because it regards it as a terrorist organization. But Qatar has been talking to Hamas together with others, including the Palestinian Authority, right? The Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas met with the leader of Hamas in Qatar. I'm not exactly clear what, if anything, is going to emerge from this current diplomatic frenzy towards a ceasefire.
But let's not forget, I mean, maybe the Arab League can handle it. The Egyptian, which Egypt is a major, the most influential Arab country, can make the mediation. Yeah. Qatar is very dangerous. Qatar, like Iran, is the main supporter of Hamas. You know, Hamas is getting most of its rockets from Iran and most of its financial aid from Qatar. So this is a country that supports terrorism, not just against Israel, but also other terrorist groups in the Middle East. If Qatar one day will change its attitude against terrorism, then Qatar will be more legitimized. But we cannot ignore the fact that Qatar hosts Mashal, a chief terrorist, the chief leader of this terrorist organization. And Qatar, like Iran is supplying Hamas with missiles and rockets, illegally, against UN Security Council decisions and against all previous agreements, and Qatar is supplying with money. Now, if we like to have any hope to future peace process in the Middle East, such groups of terrorists cannot be legitimized. Don't forget, Hamas captured Gaza from the Palestinian Authority, killed several hundreds Palestinian Fatah, official Palestinians, exactly like ISIS did in Mosul in Iraq.
Minister, so I must say, going into this interview, I was a little bit optimistic that there would be at least a one-week ceasefire, but from what I'm hearing from now, knowing what Hamas wants, knowing what Qatar wants, it doesn't sound like there's going to be much of a deal.
There is only one thing that will work for the benefits of both Israelis and Palestinians: the demilitarization of Gaza. If Gaza will be demilitarized, we will be able to lift what is so-called the siege or the restrictions, and people, both on the Israeli side of the border, won't suffer from rockets and terrorist activities, and people in Gaza will be able to improve their standard of living. This is the only true solution. All other proposals are wrong because they don't touch the core of the problem. The fact that Gaza was supposed to remain demilitarized, and there are currently thousands of Iranian missiles and other missiles in Gaza.
I know you're going back to that Security Cabinet meeting in Tel Aviv, Minister Thanks very much for joining us. Yuval Steinitz is the Minister of Intelligence of Israel. Thanks very much.
Welcome.
All right, let's get the Palestinian response. Dr. Mustafa Barghouti is a member of the Palestinian Parliament. He's the founder of the Palestinian National Initiative. He's joining us now live from Ramallah. Dr. Barghouti, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Let's get to some of the specifics. See if you have the answers. I'm not sure you do, but maybe you do. If Israel does begin a brief, let's say 12-hour pause tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. local time, and stops its attacks in Gaza, do you think Hamas will stop launching rockets and missiles into Israel during that brief 12-hour pause?
Of course they will, but that's not the only issue. Finally, the truth is coming out, Wolf. For 2 weeks, all the stations of the world were saying that Hamas and Palestinians are refusing ceasefire and Israel accepts it. Now it is clear that Israel is rejecting Kerry's proposal and Mr. Ban Ki-moon's proposal for a ceasefire at least for 7 days. 12 hours is nothing. And that means Israel is rejecting ceasefire. And that is, of course, a problem. On the other hand, it was always said that Palestinians are divided on this issue. It is clear now that Palestinians are unified. And in my opinion, Israel is dragging itself into a very serious problem. Because its government is not showing that to be the most extreme, but it seems also the most stupid, because now there is an explosion in the West Bank. Yesterday, we had the most peaceful march ever, with the largest participation in our history. More than maybe 30 or 40,000 people participated. Israel responded by shooting people. 210 people were shot with gunshots. Reminding us, or making us remember what the apartheid army in South Africa did to the people in Soweto at one point of time. And today they killed 7 more Palestinians who are not Hamas. These are people who are peacefully demonstrating, demanding freedom and showing solidarity with their brothers in Gaza. And before that, Israel made a strike on a shelter, the United Nations shelter in one of the schools, and killed 16 people and injured 200, and then claimed that maybe they did not do the shooting. I mean, this is crazy. I think the intelligence minister that you've been speaking to is not intelligent at all. By talking about Qatar, and now he wants Israel to fight Qatar, this is very strange. I think what is happening is that Israel is dragging itself into big trouble, practicing terror.
Dr.
Yes.
Barghouti, I just want to be precise right now. If Israel does this unilateral 12-hour humanitarian ceasefire tomorrow morning, you're saying that Hamas has agreed to comply. Has Hamas also agreed to the U.S.-Egyptian proposal for a 1-week ceasefire? Are you saying Hamas has agreed to that?
Not only Hamas, but all Palestinians. All Palestinian groups have agreed to 7 days ceasefire, during which time negotiations can start about all the several issues, including lifting the siege on Gaza. But Israel wants to continue the siege on Gaza. And now when they speak about demilitarizing Gaza, they don't tell us anything about demilitarizing the Israeli areas around Gaza, for instance. And why shouldn't there be an equal approach to the two sides? Actually, Israel does not want to demilitarize Hamas. Israel wants to prevent Palestinians the right to resist occupation. The right, even in peaceful means like we do in the West Bank. They want to take away from us the right to say we want our rights. They want to take away from us even the possibility of marching peacefully in the best traditions of Gandhi and Martin Luther King. And when we do, they shoot us. This is totally unacceptable. And they are denying and negating the fact that the cause of all these troubles and all this violence is the continuation of occupation of West Bank and Palestinian territories. And if they are ready to end occupation and ready to end the system of apartheid, we will not only have ceasefire, but we will have peace.
Well, here's the question. A lot of us are worried about this, and I'm sure you're worried about it as well. Given the feelings now among the Palestinians in the West Bank, and we saw the demonstrations overnight, given those feelings, are we now on the eve of a third intifada?
I don't think on the eve. Maybe we are already in a third intifada, but it's a peaceful one. It's a non-violent one from the side of the Palestinians. And we will do everything we can to keep it non-violent, although we are encountered by severe violence from the side of Israel. And now it is the duty of the international community to tell Israel, enough is enough. You cannot practice terror against civilian population. You cannot keep shooting Palestinians when they are trying to just peacefully express themselves. You cannot continue to kill children and women and claim you are fighting terrorists. Enough is enough with occupation. I think people are impatient when they see their brothers, their families killed and massacred in Gaza. They are impatient about the humiliation we receive from the Israeli army every day. They are impatient and angry because we are even prevented from praying in Jerusalem, whether we are Muslims or Christians. And enough is enough. People are boiling with anger.
All right.
And that's why you are seeing now a new uprising in the West Bank. This is what Israel did.
Well, one final question, Dr. Barghouti, because I know you're not justifying Hamas's launching of, now they've launched about 2,500 rockets and missiles into Israel. You're not justifying that, are you?
No, I don't. And I think all these rockets could not have been shot if Israel did not start attacking the people in the West Bank and then in Gaza Strip. And I am saying I don't like violence at all. I don't want anybody to be shot or killed. But I am saying you can't tell me that Israeli lives are precious and Palestinians are not. Nobody can tell me that Israel should have security but Palestinians can't have security. I mean, you have shown the results. 36 Israelis killed. I don't want any of them to be killed. But on the other side, we have more than 870 Palestinians killed. We're equal human beings. And this massacre should be stopped. And Israel is the most responsible side of this conflict because it is having the biggest and largest military arsenal. And it is supported by the United States, which is giving it money, giving it weapons. But when the state secretary asks Israel to give a ceasefire for 7 days, they say no to him. They say no to him, and they say no to Ban Ki-moon, the representative of the United Nations. They are actually saying no to international legitimacy and they are trying to be impunitive to international law.
Dr. Mustafa Barghouti joining us once again from Ramallah on the West Bank. Dr. Barghouti, thanks very much.